the light bomber which flew in every theater of World War II, and was credited as turning the tide in favor of the Allies in New Guinea. It was one of the first American-built aircraft that participated in the war, and was a great asset to the Allied war effort as a very versatile design, doing well in every role it was used in, be it light bomber, attack aircraft, or night fighter. So let's see the history of the Douglas A-20 Havoc. The story of the A-20 actually starts in 1936, when Donald Douglas, Jack Northrop, and Ed Heinemann started working on a light bomber aircraft, the Model 7. This plane was planned to be powered by two 450 horsepower Pratt & Whitney engines, but during its design, the conditions in aircraft development around the world changed dramatically, thanks to the experiences in the Spanish Civil War. The events in Spain showed an aircraft such as the Model 7 would be very underpowered and obsolete. In mid-1937, the US Army Air Corps issued specifications for a new attack aircraft to replace the aging Curtiss A-12s and Northrop A-17s. The specifications asked for a bomber which would need to be able to carry a payload of 1,200 pounds to a range of 1,200 miles and have a maximum speed above 200 miles an hour. The team at Douglas started reworking their DB-7 design from a year before and entered the upgraded version to this tender. This was the Model 7B, now powered by two 1100 horsepower engines, featuring a larger bomb bay, 3-man crew, and options to be built with a glass nose housing a bombardier, or a solid nose with fixed forward-firing 30 caliber machine guns. The new design was competing against the North American NA-40, the Stearman X-100, the Martin 167F, and the Bell Model 9. The North American NA-40 evolved into the B-25 bomber later, which I have already made a video about, so if you're interested in the history of that plane, check it out. The first prototype of the Douglas Model 7B made its maiden flight in October 1938. Though the prototype crashed in January 1939, it caught the attention of the French Air Force, and impressed the US Army Air Corps as well. During 1939, the French put in an order for 170 units, and in June the same year, the US Army Air Corps ordered it in production as well, as the A-20 Havoc. The A-20 was equipped with 1600 horsepower Wright engines in place of the earlier 1100 horsepower Pratt & Whitney ones. The French ordered additional aircraft after the beginning of World War II, and the British placed an order for 150 units as well. After the fall of France, 200 units from the French order were diverted to the British. As these were built to the French specifications and couldn't carry British bombs, they were used as night fighters. First they were equipped with a powerful searchlight in the nose, but later this was swapped for radar equipment. When the US entered the war, they also created a night fighter version of the A-20 until the P-61 Black Widow entered service. The P-70 night fighter variant was equipped with a radar in the nose and four 20mm cannons in a pod mounted in the bomb bay. And with that we arrive to the different variants of the A-20. The first variant entered in the 1937 competition was the Model 7B, followed by the DB-7 or Havoc 1, featuring a deeper, narrower fuselage, lower wing position, and two 1000 horsepower Pratt & Whitney engines. The DB-7A or Havoc 2 variant featured the stronger 1600 horsepower Wright engines, longer engine nacelles, and a taller vertical tail. The DB-7B or Boston 3 version featured stronger armor plating and larger fuel tanks. Its distinctive feature is the angled nose glazing on the sides. The A-20 was the US version, similar to the DB-7B. These were intended for high-altitude bombing and featured the R2611 supercharged engines. 59 of them were converted to P-70 night fighters. The A-20A variant was similar to the A-20, but it was built without superchargers, as it was intended for medium and low-altitude use. The following A-20B version was based on the DB-7A. It was lighter and faster, featuring lighter armor and no self-sealing fuel tanks. The nose also had the step glazing as on the DB-7A models. Most of these were transferred to the Soviet Union. The A-20C variant was again based on the heavier DB-7B variant, with the self-sealing fuel tanks, more armor plating, and slanted nose glazing. These variants had the option to carry a 2,000-pound torpedo externally. The A-20G variant was the most numerous, with 2,850 units built. This variant featured a solid nose mounting 4 20mm cannons and 2 50 caliber machine guns. Only the first 250 planes were built with the 20mm cannons though, as they proved to be very inaccurate, and they were replaced with more 50 caliber machine guns instead. Later in the production a power turret was added, so the upper section of the rear fuselage is wider on these models. The following A-20H variant was similar to the G version, but featured stronger 1700 horsepower engines. The J and K variants both featured an extended redesigned nose, so they were able to carry an additional bombardier crew member. The A-20 Havoc was 47 feet 12 inches long, with a wingspan of 61 feet 3.5 inches. The plane's empty weight was 16,031 pounds, and the maximum takeoff weight was 24,127 pounds. It was powered by two Wright R2600 radial air-cooled engines, developing 1600 horsepower each. With these engines, it could reach 316 miles an hour maximum speed, and had a cruise speed of 280 miles an hour. The combat range of the bomber was 945 miles, and its service ceiling was 23,700 feet. The main armament consisted of 6 forward-firing 50 caliber machine guns in the nose, 2 50 caliber machine guns in the dorsal turret, and 1 50 caliber machine gun behind the bomb bay. The plane could carry 4,000 pounds of bombs, or T-30 rocket launchers under the wings. The Douglas bombers first saw action when the DB-7 versions delivered to the French flew sorties against the German forces in 1940. After the fall of France, they were evacuated to North Africa, but later the Vichy government took control of them and they flew against the Allies, before again changing sides when the French forces joined the Allies. The RAF started using the DB-7 for night fighter role in 1941, and later in 1942 the Boston Free versions as bombers. The first American men flying these planes to combat were the 15th Bomb Squadron, who were sent to England in July 1942, and they participated in an RAF raid to attack German airfields in Holland. The A-20s participated in the North African campaign as well, flying missions in Algeria in 1942. Many of the planes had additional machine guns installed and were used as ground attack aircrafts. After the victory in North Africa, they moved to Italy and flew combat missions there. They also supported the Normandy landings and the Allied forces in France. But as other light and medium bombers also experienced, the low-level attacks in this area took a heavy toll because of the heavy German flag, so they started flying medium-level missions. At the end of 1944, the units in the European theater switched over to the newer and better A-26 Invaders, which I have already made a video about, so if you're interested in the history of that plane, check it out. In the Pacific theater, the first time A-20s seen action was in August 1942 in New Guinea, with the 89th Bombardment Squadron. The 3rd Attack Group also received their A-20s in August 1942. When inspecting the planes, Captain Paul Irving Gunn came up with the idea to improve the plane's firepower and turn them into strafing aircraft by replacing the forward-firing 30 caliber machine guns with 6 50 caliber ones. In addition to this, General George C. Kenney suggested to use parachute-retarded bombs as well. The Japanese forces advancing in the area were soon introduced to these new planes when they started attacking their airfields and supply lines. The A-20s were used against shipping as well, where the main tactic was skip bombing, coming in very low, suppressing the ship's anti-aircraft guns with their firepower, and release their bombs at wave height and skip it to the side of the target. This was a dangerous but very effective attack, and many Japanese ships suffered it. A great number of A-20s were sent to the Soviet Union through Lend-Lease. Actually so many that there were more A-20s in the Soviet Union than in the US Army Air Force. Most of them were delivered through the Alaska-Siberia ferry route, shipped to Alaska where Soviet pilots took over and flew them to the Soviet Union. The A-20 was well suited for the Eastern Front, where the Soviet Air Force usually flew low-level missions to support the ground troops, but they suffered many losses from the German anti-aircraft fire. Altogether, almost 3,500 A-20s were delivered to the Soviet Union. Though they were mostly replaced by the end of the war, the Douglas A-20 Havoc was a real workhorse in World War II. Flying bombing and ground attack missions, attacking ships and ground targets, and even stepping for night fighter role. It was a very versatile aircraft, and it performed well in every theater of the war. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and in the comments let me know if there's any interesting events or vehicles you'd like to see.